Well, good afternoon. Very pleased to be able to introduce Dr Ray Ridley from Ridley Engineering. We're delighted to be hosting Ray and his wife Denise and their company, who are doing a teaching course here next week. Ray's very kindly agreed to give a short interview talking about the incorporation of Pico products into their Ridley box, their training box. So Ray, welcome to Pico.
Yeah, thank you very much. Pleased to be here.
So could you tell me a little bit about you and the company and how you came to get to the stage where you were incorporating PicoScopes, PicoScope 5000s in this case, into your Ridley box solution, please?
Yeah, we've been in the business of power electronics, training, consulting, teaching, and software for, I think this is almost the 32nd year of our company. And we've, as part of that, we've sold high-end frequency response analyzers. They were made by AP Instruments. We started that in 1995. And we would incorporate a frequency response analyzer, a separate scope, and software in our training courses when we teach our hands-on instruction to industry engineers. And we've been looking for a long time for a way to compact the whole lab bench solution, including the scope, the frequency response analyzer. We also have an injection isolator in here, if you know what that is, for frequency response measurements. And putting the computers into a compact, practical unit that you can just pop in your briefcase, and you've got everything at hand.
Ooh, fantastic. So all of those components are in that one box?
They're all inside that one box, yeah.
Great.
So it just needs a power cable at the back. And we originally developed this to do remote training because we were about to start doing that when COVID hit. Right. So we had started the development of this box just before COVID, and then COVID came along and that accelerated the finish of this. So we would actually ship these boxes out to our course attendees, and that let us finish the development, do some beta testing, and get things ready for market. Right. And we've now been shipping this product for a couple of years, and it's been very successful out there.
Fantastic, that's great to hear.
So we've always been associated with a frequency response analyzer that doesn't have any dials and buttons on it. If you remember the old HP type machines with hundreds of setup buttons on the front, our first product, the AP300, got away from that. It was the first one to really get away from that and be completely computer controlled.
Okay, so real synergy between what you historically have done and obviously what Pico has done with USB connected instruments.
Exactly, and then we saw what the scope manufacturers did is they pulled the computers into their scopes, but of course you couldn't get at it and you couldn't fix it, so they created these machines which immediately became somewhat redundant because the computers were too old. Right. So we wanted to find a way to find somebody that just made the data acquisition unit, which is exactly what Pico does. And we wanted to find somebody who does it really well, especially the software end. Great. Because we're all about the software being rugged, dependable, and so on.
And that's the user experience, that's the bit of the product that the actual user gets to see.
These days there's lots of frequency response analyzers, lots of scopes, but it's all about the software now. And what we do is we take the Pico product, we use it as a frequency response analyzer, but we flow the data right into our design software. So it's completely transparent that you're collecting data. You don't have to put out a memory stick and put it into your computer. It just flows right into our design programs. Great. So for the user, it's almost, there's no difference between the simulation world and the actual hardware world that they're measuring in the lab. And we find that they just love that ease of use. The interface is very, very important to them.
Fantastic. Yeah, that's really good. And of course, the design format of the Pico products, being USB connected, small, portable, lightweight, etc., ideally lend themselves to incorporation into products such as yours, don't they?
Yeah, exactly. As I say, we searched hard for the right product to put in here. And when we looked at the different products, we could see how some of them just weren't doing such a good job on the software end, somewhat unreliable, drivers wouldn't work. But with the Pico products, we just had no problem with that from the beginning. And we actually take the unit out of the case that it comes in, and we've moved it into this metal case. Now, we didn't do that just to make it look good. When you're doing frequency response measurements, it's very challenging. You're trying to get 80 or 90 dB, sometimes over 120 dB out of 8 bits.
Wow. Okay.
And grounding becomes of primary importance.
Okay, so the quality of the engineering that goes into this is obviously paramount, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. So when we use a separate computer and a separate Pico, we had to put ground planes everywhere and wrap things around, and finally we just wrapped it all into one box to get the solution that we came up with here. We're very happy with this.
So the core of that then goes into your Ridley box solution.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No,
Yes.
Fantastic. I think we found working together has been very straightforward. We've both got the engineering knowledge and the expertise to help make this happen for the other parties. So I think it's been synergistic, hasn't it?
Yes, I think one of the things we love about Pico is the people in charge have been engineers and are still engineering at heart.
Yeah.
So they've been so easy to work with. We've really enjoyed that part. Everything's
great.
been really seamless. From our first meeting with Trevor about 3 or 4 years ago when we first started this to the present day.
Fantastic. No, that's great. Well, it's been really good talking to you about the synergy between your product and our product, and how we work together to incorporate the PicoScope into the Ridley box solution. So it's fantastic to have you on site. And tell me just a little bit about the type of people that are using this solution.
Well, it's very diverse. Everywhere from semiconductor companies, automotive companies, aerospace companies, just anybody that is building power electronics for their systems. And of course, everybody needs power. Everybody needs a switching power supply.
Yeah, so power obviously a very important vertical segment within the market.
Yeah. Very, very much our customers, they're building power for themselves. They're not the power supply companies, which are trying to just compete on rock bottom price and not necessarily doing the greatest job, but just make something disposable.
Yeah.
So we get the people then that really want to make a good product.
Fantastic. No, that's great. I guess your customers potentially for the training courses are potential customers for PicoScope as well, because they're going to be users of oscilloscopes in their work.
Yeah, absolutely. And the extension over the years, of course, people doing frequency response analysis is much less than people using a scope. But I think there's becoming a much broader awareness now that frequency response measurements are a crucial part of it, especially with all the power integrity things going on, needing to measure impedances and so on. But we get deep into the power electronics, the power supply, the magnetics, and extend the measurements into that range as well.
Very, very interesting. So interesting applications, and as you say, very diverse range of customers for your products and your courses.
Yeah, it really is.
Fantastic. Well, Ray, it's been a real pleasure talking to you. Thanks ever so much for that. And we're very much looking forward to working with you next week and meeting some of your delegates and moving forward.
Great. Thanks so much.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.